Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here, and today I have a really special guest here. Someone who I've been following his YouTube channel for a while. It's kind of one of the cool things about having a YouTube channel is I get to meet all the kind of cool people that I watch on YouTube when they come on the channel. But I met Antonio actually at a meetup event that Andrew Warner from Mixergy had put on, and we connected, and he graciously accepted my invite to come on the channel. So I have Antonio from Real Men Real Style here today. So welcome, Antonio.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me. And that was a cool meetup, man. They got security called on us, right?
Oh
You
yeah.
remember that? Yeah.
Exactly. That's what happens when you get a bunch of YouTube people with a lot of scotch.
Yeah. And they weren't just YouTube people. We had the guys actually from, I think, Copy Blogger were floating around. And they were, or was it Copy Blogger? Or no, yeah, it was, there were some big ones. Copy,
Uh-huh.
I can't even remember. I don't want to drop names, but some of these people were loaded. And it was
Oh
so
yeah.
funny just to like see someone that like I've respected his work for 15 years, just like leaning on me, like I haven't had too much to drink. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. But there were just awesome people up there who
Oh
were
yeah.
just hanging out, talking. Nathan Barry was at that, the founder of ConvertKit. And
Yeah. Yep.
before that, he's just a great designer that has now created a business that's doing well over $1 million a month, just with like helping people deliver emails and better communicate with their audience. There were so many great people. Actually, I don't remember Chad. I don't remember his last name, but it's Alejandra's husband, and he's got like an organization channel. And like we had friends in common for years, and yeah, it was just cool. Like good, and of course Andrew Warner was hosting the event,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, it's funny. Nathan, actually, I remember I used to live in Boise, Idaho,
yeah.
and I used to see him all the time at code camps, like because we used to like do because he was a software developer, and so we used to do the whole thing, and yeah, it's just been amazing to see him grow and his thing, and yeah, there's just a lot of cool people. Jordan Harbinger was there,
Yep,
and
yep.
yeah, it was just a
I
really good.
think it has wife Jen floating around too. I mean, yeah, and
Uh,
just a great crew, and
yeah,
that's what I love about. And what's funny is so many people think that I don't know somehow that I'm inaccessible, or that once they see somebody that's having success, oh, he's got a company with a run rate of $20 million a year that he could probably sell for $100 million here pretty soon. How would I ever talk to him? Well,
right.
actually go out and find out where these guys are going, where they want to learn from, and just show up. And
Exactly.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, it's amazing. I was walking around. That's all I did at that social media marketing world, is walk the perimeter. And I've done homework. I know what people look like. I have a
Right.
good idea. I'm reading badges. And as soon as I spot them, then because I've done that homework, I simply go up and introduce myself. And yes, some people did not treat me very well. They had no idea who I am. And they're just like, it's like, but I remember I met Darren Rose, and this is kind of a funny story. He's the founder of ProBlogger, and
Uh-huh.
we're going around. He's just walking. I'm like, hey, Darren, like huge fan, love what you're doing. But I recognize this bald head. He's a relatively skinny guy, Australian. And
Yeah.
he's just, okay, yeah, you can walk with me. And because he was just looking for, doing about the same thing I was doing. And I'm just talking with him. But the coolest part is every like 50 feet, we got stopped and someone was coming up, Antonio, love your channel, man. You are just like, and
Yeah.
I didn't have to, I just was talking to him about him, like saying, you were so awesome. I've learned this, I've used this. But by after the third stop, he's like, who are you?
Right.
It's just,
Yeah.
it's funny how that happens. But, it's like, again, you go off and you find how you can give value to people, because he's
Exactly.
interested how this guy is getting recognized, but he's yet helped build me up into who I am and what my website has become. And
Right.
people love that.
Yeah, and it's a good lesson too. Just like I think to just be kind to everyone, that like, because sometimes what I mean, like especially like if you achieve some kind of success in life, people will come up to you, and it's like whenever that happens to me, I'm always just try to be very, very cool. Yeah, let's take a picture. Yeah, let's chat. Like, because you don't know who it is, right? Like
Yeah.
in that case, like he didn't know, maybe he didn't know you, like he wasn't familiar with your channel, but then all these people start coming up to you, and he's like, oh, wait a minute, maybe this, and it's like you never know who's talking to you. Like it might be someone that is like, and you can always learn and benefit from anyone, but yeah,
Yep.
but most people are really cool. Every once in a while, you talk to someone and you're like, gosh, it's so unfortunate that this person that you admire is like not a very kind or nice person.
That happened to me too.
But yeah,
It was like, I remember one guy, huge fan, been reading his stuff since I was in college.
yeah,
And he's a big name. And I caught him just as he was coming in. And I understand that, like, he's got to be places. He's a busy guy, but totally brushed me off. And it's just something, people, they're going to forget, I think was it, Angela, or my Angela Mayer, I don't know. I just know she's attributed this quote, but it's like, people forget what you say, but they never forget how you made them feel.
exactly.
It's like,
Yeah.
like his stuff, like, honestly, it's like, it's a bunch of BS. If that's, and I've heard that this is the way he is. And it's just like, everyone is a human being. Everyone deserves a measure of respect. Now, what they do after you start talking with them, you can change it or elevate it or bring it down or cut them off. But it's like, make time for people. And if you can't, then explain to them very quickly and then say, hey, but I will be here, or I can do this, or please follow up with me. I would love to learn more. And
yeah, exactly. No, I'm in full agreement with you, like that, about that. And what goes around comes around. It's like, whether you believe in karma or not, like if how you treat people, it'll come back to you, someday. So yeah. Well, so for everyone that doesn't know, well, first of all, let me just say, if you're watching this right now, if you're live or you're watching the recorded version, go right now, just take 1 second, go over to Real Men, Real Style, search on YouTube and click the subscribe button and subscribe, especially if you're a guy.
Smash that subscribe button.
Yeah,
Smash
it. Because you're going to want to subscribe. I've been a subscriber to Antonio's channel on Real Men, Real Style for quite some time, and it's really helped my style for sure. He's just got a lot of really good content there, like for you guys, definitely like one of the channels that I recommend highly. So go check that out. But for everyone that doesn't know like what you do, maybe if you want to just give like a, just tell people who is Antonio, what do you do, what is Real Men, Real Style?
Yeah. So you know how most men can't dress well. I solve that problem through making style practical and very easy to implement. So I try to use, I'm very much a right brain, which I think you've got a lot of programmers and coders and people that follow your stuff. I always thought, okay, like fashion, runways, how does this make any sense? But I was in the Marine Corps, and we understood there that uniforms do matter because insignia, you've got your rank insignia. You've also got people make a quick judgment of, who you are, what you have to say, and your level of importance by the way that you dress. Right. So it is something that it does carry over into the regular world because, one of my favorite examples, a naked guy runs into a room and says, everyone get out. We're like, that guy had too much to drink. Right. If it's a fireman that walks in and says, everyone get out, what do? We're like, we don't question him. We get out because uniform sends signal of authority. Every day you wear a uniform, whether you know it or not. And what does that uniform send the signal of? If you're a coder, you're a programmer. Well, yeah, you may go with the uniform that most guys wear, which is, you've got the t-shirt, the graphic t-shirt, which is a fashion trend, by the way. And then you've got these jeans, and then you've got running shoes. But look around, everyone else does. And does this represent who you are and what you aspire to be? And what, it's like, you may find that actually I would rather wear something different, or you want to set yourself apart from the crowd because all of you are amazing programmers, but you're at least the programmer that they can put in. Let's say Bill, I had this with one of my clients back when I had a custom clothier, and he was a programmer in Austin, Texas. And Bill Gates was in town and doing a charity event. They needed someone. It was a black tie event. They needed someone in like a couple hours. Well, guess what? They went to him because he did happen to own a tuxedo, and they knew this because he was known as the eccentric dresser out of 200 programmers in that department. Not a bad thing because he ended up getting to sit at the table with Bill Gates. But again, it's about setting yourself up, being referable, and being someone that is not overlooked. You're looked over, not overlooked.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you on that. That's one of those things. It's like, in my book, I had a chapter on dressing, like for software developers, and I was talking about the idea that like if someone is dressed in a police uniform, for instance, like even if you know them, like you can't help but treat them different. Like you're gonna feel like this because it like you even knowing that they're putting on a costume, they're not really a police officer. You're still gonna be influenced by that because it's so much in our nature. And yeah, it makes a huge difference. Like,
yeah, there's that classic Japanese robbery in which, they were dressed up as police officers and they just went in and they, people, respect authority. They are obviously police officers. There's something going on. They cleared out, the store, and then they just robbed the place.
right. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it makes a huge difference. And so tell me a little bit about, like, I'm always curious. I never really heard the origin story of how did you start the site and like in the YouTube channel, or did which came first?
Yeah, it was simply a marketing arm of my clothier, a tailored suit, and I needed to sell suits. I needed to grow that business, and I
Okay.
didn't have money to actually get any traffic to my website. I didn't understand paid traffic. This is about 2007, 2008 when I started that company. So I started writing and creating content on and it's still out there, a tailored suit. The clothier is no more, but the content still sits there on that website. Someday I'll figure out what to do with that website. It still gets like 2,000 people a day.
Oh wow. Okay.
I don't do anything with it. It's just like a content little little magnet there. But yeah, I thought content marketing was the future. I'd actually just been fired from my other job as the CFO after I graduated from business school. I had learned a little bit about, or I'd heard about this, it wasn't called content marketing then, but the idea that you could kind of stake your claim. I looked at like the Oklahoma land rush, where you just would ride out there and put your claim and just grab a piece of the internet, which is
Right.
still possible. And it was just something, hey, like, well, I'm starting this clothing business. I might as well also be the expert here. So I started releasing out these articles, these bits of information. A guy named Brett McKay over at The Art of Manliness found me, and he said,
Oh
hey,
yeah. Okay.
you're good at this. How about you come write with me? I just started this blog, The Art of Manliness. He had brought people over from the Frugal Law Student, and that's how he had a little bit of an audience, but I watched him just grow and
Oh yeah.
just dominate there. And I was like, well, there's potential in this information marketing thing, but I'm going to keep focusing on my clothier that's losing money. And eventually I shut that thing down. It went into bankruptcy. And I said, well, how about if I start over and just become an information marketer? Because I like talking about this stuff. I feel I'm helping men. But it wasn't the clothing that I realized I cared about. It was actually using it as a vehicle to help men get what they want out of life. So when I talk about shoes, when I talk about shirts, when I talk about, the stuff for grooming, business etiquette, it's about helping you get that loan for your nonprofit, helping you, get your first customers when people have no reason to trust you except going on your word that you're going to deliver that service.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. That's interesting. I didn't realize that the story, and it's kind of interesting too. I think just like in your story, because I think a lot of people don't realize that, like, they see your channel and they see, oh wow, he's got so many subscribers on YouTube, over almost 2 million subscribers, and it's like, they don't realize that, like, you had your business venture, like, had basically failed, and then you had gone into this, like, they don't realize I think they see someone super successful like you, and they don't realize that, like, you had to, like, ride the wave. Like, it it wasn't just like you just, like, started doing stuff and then it just magically happened. You tried different things, right? And then
Yeah,
and
well,
now
people, that's
yeah.
human nature, is that we focus in on someone's success, and unless it's blatantly put in front of us, or it can be sensationalized by Yahoo News, we're not going to pay attention to, all the negative things that came out. Still, I'm lucky to bat, I don't know, 300 when it comes to business ideas and things I launch. I'm lucky, yeah, 3 out of 10 actually survive or work. And then I'm lucky if 1 out of 10 is actually really successful. Oftentimes, yeah, it's only 1 out of 10 that I keep. The other 2 end up like just being mediocre, and we end up killing off.
Yeah. That's true. That's like I think a lot of people don't realize that they just want they expect that what they do is just going to be successful, but that's the true entrepreneurs have gone through that. Like, it's always that struggle. So for
Yeah.
you, like, I'm curious too. Obviously, like, this has been, I guess it's been like 10 years now. And, and probably you've really gained the momentum in the last 4 to like probably 5 or 6 years. What is that like that change of life? Did you ever think that you'd be here, have your face on video, like people recognize you, and like, what is that like, going from that, the traditional kind of, I guess, path of, education, school, and military, right, to what you're doing now?
I always felt that I would achieve, that I would be successful, that I would go after what, I guess it started pretty early. There was simply, I just always felt I could outwork and out hustle anyone. I realize that's not always the route you need to take. Sometimes it can be very painful. But, when I was I think it was second grade, there was this big MS readathon going on in West Texas, where for every book that you read, you would get people to pledge a dime or a nickel or a quarter to the MS, raising money for multiple sclerosis. And I remember that was cool. I mean, but I was really interested in the price, because there was no way my parents would ever afford to buy me a bike or something like that. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it myself. And I did the quick thing. It's like, okay, well, most people in my trailer park, they're only, no one's giving you a quarter per book. It's like penny. It's like a nickel. So the only way to get past that is I got to read a bunch of books. Most kids are content with reading 20. No, I'm going to read 120. And it's like every day after school, on the bus, to and from school, you're putting in the work, you're filling the dead time, you're reading these books. And I read like 150 books. And you can believe that poor guy that ended up sponsoring me a quarter just about crapped his pants when I'm there with here's your bill. I read, it's like, and I crushed it. Now, the girl that beat me, she was a sixth grader. And it was something that she lived in she had sponsors that were spending a whole lot more, dollar per book. She only read like 30 books. And so it wasn't, it was just something I learned that sometimes, the amount of work you do isn't always going to win, because if I'd hit a better neighborhood, I probably would have really killed it. But I just realized early on that, oftentimes you put in the work, you put in the effort, you'll find out. So whenever I created my channel, I didn't just, and Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this, somebody said, hey, I've tried everything. He's like, really? Did you try it? You tried it 100 times? No. Did you try it? Did you try it 10 times? No. Did you try it twice? I tried it once. That's not everything. You didn't try everything. You tried it once and you failed. And that's the problem, is that most people, they're not rejection proof. I think my friend Jia Zhang, he has a great book called Rejection Proof. Check it out. And he, it's like, you got to go out there and just make failing almost like a game. It's like, how many different ways can you screw up? And like right now we're refining, we're actually kind of making some big changes at Realm in Real Style, redefining who our target avatar is and who we want to go after and bring into our company, or, to attract our content. And it's just one of those things that, initially right now we're failing on attracting some of those guys, but I'm like, okay, well, this is a great opportunity, because I now get to reinvent and I get to go through this process and figure it out. And it's tough sometimes when you don't have money, or you're going to go through a bankruptcy, or you're in negative. But it's also exhilarating, and it's fun, and it kind of makes you feel alive. I love the early phase in getting something started.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's really good. And that book is really good too, the rejection proof, because so many people are afraid of that rejection. And I like what you said about just the idea of have you tried everything? I was just recording a video this morning about this. I had heard about the Toronto guy that ran that car into all those people, and he was part of a movement called I can't think of the name of it. It's this movement of guys that are involuntarily incel. That's what it's called, involuntarily celibate. And they just have this perspective on life that it's not like that they're never, that life is unfair, that everything's stacked against them, that against women, against men that are successful. And I was thinking about one of the things I was kind of trying to communicate was just this idea that have you tried everything? Have you gone have you gone to the gym? Have you got your style in check? Have you done all of the things that you could do and learn some social skills, developed yourself, personal development? At the end of, after you've done all that, then come and whine and say, oh, I'm involuntarily celibate. But if you haven't done that, then you still got a long way to go. And I think that you're absolutely right. Most people they try one time and they give up, and that's it.
Yeah. And it's that's a horrible situation, but it is something that I think when people go to that dark place, they do things that it's not much I can add to that.
Yeah. So So what has been like, what's been kind of your strategy like for success with well, you know, and how did this happen? Like how was your rise with Real Men Real Style? Maybe if you could kind of walk us through, like, when did you really start to get traction? Like, how long did it take? And then what do you feel like was the thing that
Yeah,
really
let me.
made it
I'm going to go
successful?
in and I'm going to look at the my YouTube stats because
Okay, cool.
that's probably one of the big things that everyone zeroes in on, and they're like, oh, you know, I saw you on YouTube. I hear. I mean, before I was successful on YouTube, I'd written like 200 articles
Wow, yeah.
over at the Art of Manliness, at A Tailored Suit, at Real Men Real Style, that honestly no one ever recognized me for. I was getting some traffic, and I saw that we were having an impact, but you know, no one saw that. No one recognized me because of my clothier or anything like that. You know, so when it comes to recognition, you know, it's like no one recognizes, or very few times are we given recognition for the early work that we do. It's usually, if anyone does, it's your spouse. It's perhaps your you know, people that your partner, maybe some friends that you've got. And I think that that's like kind of one of the sadder things, is that, you know, you can hear that, but you oftentimes ignore it. You don't celebrate those little wins early on.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I go back and I start looking at my channel, I'm going into, okay, let's look at my own channel, go into the creator studio and see what we've got here. But, you know, initially you just see me plugging along like for
Yeah.
a long time. And,
Yep.
you know, I'm see how far back these analytics can go here. But yeah, you know, you're looking at, you know, average view duration. What should we see now? We're going to go with total views. And so now, you know, we have a spike, you know, we get, you know, 200, 300, 400,000 views a day, you know, 5 to 10 million a month. You know, that's cool. But if we go farther back and we just keep going back and we look at that, we see, oh, you know, there was a spike, I think just over a year ago. I had a
Wow.
huge spike that really, you know, put us on the map. But you keep going farther back and you realize that, you know, no one sees that 5 years of struggle. No one
Yeah.
sees that, you know, that time period in which I didn't publish anything, you know, for like almost an entire summer. And the progress that we did had, you know, dipped down. You know, people just focus in on what they think Hollywood tells them, that about these overnight successes. And you've probably had people say it before, but there's no such thing as an overnight success. You know, it's like, yeah, I think it was, I see in the December or January of 2017, we had a huge spike. But before that, we were starting to see bits of progress. But yeah, I guess I started the channel in 2010 and didn't
Okay.
publish anything. Nothing. I mean, I'm getting 700 views a day. And then, you know, we're getting, you know, views. You know, it was steady. You know, even 4 years ago, I was only getting, you know, like 20,000 views. And this looks like a day, which may seem a lot, but again, you know, initially we're only getting 25 views a day, 19 views, 3 views, you know,
Yeah.
and then, you know, then it gets up to a few hundred. Well, what's cool about, you know, the snowball effect, if you're consistent, like the ball doesn't seem to get smaller very often. You know, it usually just continuously gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I do admit that we're in this position now where I'm able to do less work and have bigger impact. But that's because of all the work and the time I put in, you know, for the
Exactly.
last 8 years.
Yeah, I always think of it as like the image that I always have is like, it's like you're pushing the boulder up the hill, and for that time it's hard, and then what people see is they don't see you pushing the boulder up the hill, but they see it when you get up the hill and it's rolling down the other side, and you're kind of riding on the boulder because you've got that momentum, and they're like, oh well, that's that it's hard for me, but it's not. But they don't realize that part of pushing that boulder up. But once you get onto that other side, then you're able to do less work, but have more impact for sure. But it takes a long time to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so do we have any questions? Anyone popping in? Looks like we're
Oh
actually.
yeah, let's see what we got. Oh, we got a ton of questions, or a ton of
We
people in
do.
here.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going on.
Arthur's out there. Where are you guys from? Let us know. So I see Marco out there. I see Nikon. See Jonas, Samit, Char. See a few of you guys. Octavio, good to see you. And VGod, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You know, it's like one thing with my channel is
Yeah.
I'm really trying to be much more motivation. I don't talk about anything negative. I figure there's enough negativity out there. I
Yeah.
try to keep things positive. I read you're a big fan. Are you a big fan of The Rock?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I just read a great article and he was talking about how he almost didn't do the movie Rampage because initially it had a sad ending. And he's like, not going to do it. Doesn't my brand, people come to watch my movie, it will be a happy ending. It like I deliver the
I
happy
like
ending.
I like it. Yeah,
And I loved it because it's like he just doesn't compromise on he knows what he is, what his brand is, what he stands for, and he
yeah,
doesn't compromise. And it makes decisions so easy. And I was reading like people are commenting and they're like, that's right. Because I went and it's like I talked to Travis White. He's my right hand man. Where he's GQ model. He's worked for me for a couple of years now. Awesome guy. But he was just laughing when I told him this because he's like I saw this at the theater with my wife the other day, and that's exactly what I told her. When I don't want to ruin the ending, but the ending didn't look happy initially, and
right.
he's like, nah, this is fake. Like it's The Rock, and of course The Rock delivers.
Yeah,
And it's like moms are in there saying, that's why I take my kids to see the movies from The Rock, because I know they're family friendly.
yeah,
I know that he's going to deliver a happy ending. And that's what we go to the movies for. And I'm like, man, like I need to clearly identify what my brand stands for. And that's, I think what I want to have all my videos motivational. You go to my video, even if you don't care what I'm talking about, I want
right.
to motivate you and make your day a little bit better.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's good, and it's good to have that, like that, to know exactly what you are, and so that you're polarizing, right? It's like people, if they're coming here for what you stand for, they're going to be in your audience. If they're not, then that's fine. They can go somewhere else. But yeah, I actually saw a really interesting video on Rock, on I think it was like the Art of Charm channel, or no, what is it? No, Charisma on Command. That's what it was. Charisma on Command, and it was really interesting. He's had a pretty big transformation in his like just his demeanor and his style and his social skills.
Yeah, Charlie's put out some great videos. He's an awesome guy. Have you had the chance to have him on the channel or to talk with Charlie?
No, I should invite him on the channel for sure.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Just he comes out to my my event, Menfluential, my conference, and I think I'll actually be seeing him we're gonna meet up in Palm Springs here in a couple of weeks for an event.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, we should, it's a good time to mention also, I'm planning on going next year for sure. Now that I know, I didn't realize that you guys had that event until I talked to you and Aaron, but,
Yeah.
But Menfluential, is it just menfluential.com where people can sign up and?
Yeah. If you go to Menfluential Conference, just type in Menfluential Conference. I own two companies that are called Menfluential now. We have the Menfluential Media Company, which is how me, Aaron Marino, Jose Zuniga, tons of guys, we actually bring all the influencers under one space, and we've created a media company that solved a lot of the problems of just simply being able to find sponsors and to negotiate with them. So that right there is, whole other subject. But we were able to create a multi-million-dollar company in just a couple of years there. That one is not what you're looking for. You're looking for Menfluential Conference.
Right. Okay.
And you can be able to tell we've got the pictures. We encourage, it's just a positive event for men that we talk about business. We talk about personal development, and we bring people. It's no pitching from the stage. It's simply, and it's relatively a small event. I keep it small, intimate, because I want guys to be able to talk with. If you want to talk to Aaron Marino, you can do that. If you want to talk to me, you can do that. And that's what it's like. People say, oh, like you're hard to reach. I'm like, I'm not. I'm right. Like show up early to my conference.
Yeah.
Like, I'm standing out there for 30 minutes, like drinking coffee with guys that are willing to make the effort to show up. Now we got a lot of guys that are saying where they're from. We got New Haven, Connecticut, Chicago. We've got Iran. You've got programmers from Iran out there, Colorado, San Diego, Jersey, Latvia, which we know it's in Northern Europe, Arthur. We've got, let me see, some people are, we got the Rodrigo. I mean, where were you guys at? All over the place. So.
Yeah, it's a pretty big. You see, you're schooling me here. I'm learning from you. I'm like, oh yeah, I've got to interact with the audience more. So I like it. I'm learning here today. So this is good. But it's fun doing these live things, getting some interaction from the audience, and everyone's usually pretty well behaved.
I like it when they're not. I have a little bit of fun. So like, what does Antonio do? I do absolutely nothing except cash checks.
There we go.
Yeah. Every single day at 4:20, I'm rolling a fat one, and this money just comes in. And this is what I do. Come on. No, and I've never actually used drugs. I mean, alcohol, I do consider, I'd have to take it back. I have, I do drink. I don't anymore, but alcohol pretty much cut out of my life. Just wasn't really adding any value, but yeah. So, see, what else do we got? Real men. What, as opposed to fake men? No, not opposed to fake men, because, the way I talk about real men, real style, it actually, there isn't, the opposite is a man that, just isn't true to himself. So maybe fake men would be the opposite. Bruff 19. Let me see. What else do we got out there? Hello from Russia. Vodka, matryoshkas, and Balyelka. What about, so Danielle, that borscht is Ukrainian. Just to be clear there. I watch Ukrainian. So borscht. What else? Verliniki. You can have holodets, Daniel. I do not like that food. Holodets, no thank you. You know what holodets is?
What's that?
It's like Jell-O,
okay,
except there's like parts of pig in it. And yeah, I just like, wait a minute, whoa, like Jell-O is like a dessert for me. So you see this clear stuff, and then you see like a pig ear and a tail, and you're like, whoa. Now that's like hard school holodets or old school holodets. More of the modern stuff, they actually do take the good cuts from the pork. But holodets is one of those things that, like, okay, we got to figure out what to do with the bones and the leftover parts of the pig. So let's just make this meal here.
And then you've got the gelatin from the joints. So.
Exactly.
There you go. One thing I wanted to ask you about was the military aspect, right? Like, how do you feel? Do you feel like being in the military, like, sets you up, like, the discipline to be a better entrepreneur, or what are your thoughts on that?
I loved it. I mean, I had a great time. I served for 5 years as an officer of Marines, and I learned tons from the guys I was around. You're surrounded by all these guys that, a lot of people, especially outside maybe the United States and other militaries where there's conscription, they view the military as like, oh, that's where people that have nothing else to do go. And that's a bunch of BS, especially in the United States, where you've just got these amazing people that take on this awesome. When you're 19 and you are taking on the responsibility, you're in this life and death decision, and you've got a team of 10 people under you. That's pretty, most 19-year-olds never face that. Most adults have never faced that. And it really forces you to grow up. I grew up quite a bit in the Marines, because all of a sudden I was put in charge of men who were older than me, were looking up to me. And I realized I needed to take myself to that next level, because it was just, when you have that awesome responsibility put on you, you need to step up. And it really forces you to grow up, to become that man you're capable, I think, most men of being. You take on that. I actually just put out a video, or it hasn't come out yet, but I'm talking about how to become an adult. And I thought I was like, come on, do I really need to put out this video? But I watched some of these other ones, and I'm like, well, that's not becoming an adult. No, like, dressing sharp doesn't make you an adult. Right. But really, taking on the responsibility for yourself, that is what makes you an adult. So many people never take on responsibility for themselves, for their actions, for their words, for, their own finances. And that's just one. There's other things, that go with being an adult. Actually, going through, and does anyone agree? I see so many like a man child walking around. You got this guy that looks like a man. He's got the physical body of a man. He even legally is a man, but he's a child. And the opposite of a man, Brett McKay talks about this better than me. The opposite of a man is not a woman. No, the opposite of a man is a child. And a child is irresponsible, puts blame on others, doesn't take, care of their own, of themselves. And that's something I feel that this world would be a lot better if we had, men that simply were men.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a big problem. Today, for sure, definitely, I think that that's one of the most common questions I get, like, from email and in comments is how to be a man. I think today, especially, we don't have the rites of initiation, right? We don't have those things that men had in previous generations, and so there's a lot of guys don't really become what I would classify as a man until like in their 30s.
Yeah.
And it's a problem because it's because there's not a lot of education out there teaching men, right? Even if you look up like I don't know if it sounds like you're a pretty avid reader, but like if you look up the men books, like I did a video on like the top men books. There's maybe like 7 or 8 of them. I saw there's also like an article on, maybe you wrote that article, but on art of manliness that lists them out. And there's not like there's 200, maybe 500 books about being a woman. There's not a lot of books about being a man.
No. And unfortunately, most men, the reason being is there's not a huge market for it. Men aren't asking this question. They're, just, I think the way we naturally gravitate towards, we're not seeking self-help. It's like women, they say that, big generalization, but women seek help, men die. It's like we just like it's like, and I think that's an issue because you look at suicides, the vast majority of them are men. You look at it's just like people that self-harm themselves and do these things. It's a lot of times men that are doing this, they're closing themselves off, and it doesn't have to be that way. And yeah, that's a whole bigger topic. And you do got a question here, a lighter question. And Jonas is asking, he's actually just paid you £5, which is like what, $1,000 US? No, the conversion's not that right. But it is he's saying, does Antonio know more languages than John knows programming languages?
That's a good question.
That is good. I don't know too many languages. So if you know a lot of programming languages, I know a bit of Russian, I know a bit of Ukrainian, I know a bit of Spanish and English. And that's probably, I would say, the extent of my languages.
Okay, I've got probably about maybe like 10 programming languages. So I've got you there in the programming languages. But as far as the natural languages, I know a little bit of Italian and some English. So hopefully I can do English okay at this point. But
so I'm seeing Michelle, she's writing in there that her son joined the Air Force out of high school, just made staff sergeant. First, congratulations, Michelle, and thank you very much for raising a great boy like that. Now, and I think the military is it is a rite of passage for many young men. And it's just something that I know from my brother, really, I mean, he's EOD with the Army. He's been in 18 years. And to be honest, he was a complete shitput in high school. I love my brother, but he was like all over the place. He didn't take responsibility. But as soon as you are put in a position when you realize, holy cow, like I'm in this position, you've got to step up. Not everyone does. And many rites of passage do not end well. I'm not going to say that we need to go back to the old systems, but I am saying that, it may be something that you find a rite of passage, and it may be something that you do with your friends, maybe going on a camping trip. There's Dan Sullivan over at, you're probably familiar with Dan Sullivan. He's the founder of Strategic Coach, and he also does the 10X podcast with Joe Polish. These guys, huge multimillionaire, I mean, amazing coaches and businessmen. But he talked about, actually, I think it was some type of it was a program for youth that lived in the cities that would take them out into the mountains. And they had to go on this 50-mile hike over a period of like 3 days. And he talked about how he gave up in the middle of that hike. And one of the other guys just simply looked at him and he's like, "You going to stop there?" And he's like, and Dan's just sitting there. He's like, "Well, no." He's like, "Because no one's coming to get you. I mean, you're going to be waiting here a while, man." So Dan got up and kept walking again. And within like a mile, he stopped again. And the same guy walked by. He's like, "Well, you stopping here?" And Dan's like, "No." It's like he got up and he kept walking. And this happened. And he hated that guy until he looked back on that. And he's like, "That was a defining moment in my life." And it's like, I look back on that and I realized that was applicable in life. Like, you can't just give up and stop in the middle of it. Yes, you can, but it's not going to be a happy ending. And it's like, and when you realize that you are capable of a lot more than you give yourself credit for,
Yeah.
It's empowering. It's the mind plays tricks on us. Anyone that's ran a marathon and has hit the wall, anyone that that is raising kids and is a single mom, single dad, it's like you're at the end of your rope, but you keep going. Anyone that has been sick and, down, but you still found a way to work all night and deliver and do what needed to be done, you've kind of gone through that. And I think if we actually celebrated those moments a bit more, and we're a little bit easier on ourselves and we recognize those moments, we probably would be better off.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And that's just a great metaphor for life. I think just the idea that like no one's coming to save you. Like I think a lot of times people are like, oh, well, I'm going to get bailed out, or like, I just like, but just being self-reliant, right? Like having that viewpoint of like, all right, I got to go. 'Cause if I don't move forward, like there's no one coming to rescue me. Like there's no one going to come and help me. Like if I want this thing in my life, if I want this success, I have to go and take it. I have to go get it. It's not just going to fall into my lap. I think that's a valuable mindset to have for sure.
Yep. So what's going on with you, man? What are the big deals? Or what are the big things going on for you since we've talked?
Let me see what's going on. I'm doing a lot of traveling, but I'm actually doing some real estate. I don't know if you're involved in real estate, but
we talked about that a little bit. You told me you had some deals going on.
Yeah. I'm looking at kind of doing some bigger deals now. I've got like 26 units, and they're paid off, but now I'm looking at like maybe possibly selling some of those and probably buying some bigger properties, cash flowing properties. But that's one of the big things. And then I think I'm trying to remember. I think when we talked, I had split off the YouTube channel. So now it's just under my name instead of Simple Programmer, and trying to, I'm taking a hit actually. The subscriber and the view count is going down as I'm shifting the brand. But I just have to ride the storm, I think, and just keep on going. And just keep on doing what I believe that the content I want to produce, right? Just like you talked about. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now.
You got to go your own route, man. You got to do it. Now I see that we got more people out there. We got Oleg, and he's actually giving me a plus for Ukrainian. Slava Ukraina, Oleg. And Rodrigo out there, he knows a little bit of everything. Michelle, you are welcome. Bruff 19. Why did I leave the military? Because I wanted to have a life. My brother, he's deployed 7 times. He's about to go to Afghanistan again. And they just gave him a month's notice. I stopped in Nashville just, an extra week. We were down in Austin for 2 weeks, and then came back up and stopped in Nashville for a week to see him and his new wife. And, he's on his 3rd wife. I really hope it works out, but there's a reason I left the military. And that's, I want to stay married to a woman, that I can actually see, to kids. I can be there for their births, for their birthday. I was on a deployment with the 11th MEU. And I remember my roommate, Chief Warrant Officer Gabrich, and he wasn't there for any of his 4 kids when they were born. He was watching this video again and again during the entire deployment of his son scoring a goal, like these soccer goals. And I mean, I knew these videos because he watched them again and again and again. But, it's like his son hopefully knows how much he loves him. But the problem there is that there's no guarantee. And your kids, like, you're going to miss that time. So I do right now make sacrifices. Like I don't work as much as I could be. I don't give my business as much attention. There's a reason why, I don't hang out much on social media. Even my own Facebook group, it's got like 50,000 like active members hanging out in the private group, simply because I want to spend time with my kids.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. My dad was actually Air Force growing up. He's Air Force for like 20 years. So I grew up on a lot of military bases, moved around a lot. But yeah, it's a sacrifice being in for that long, for sure.
Hey, Alex is asking about what books that I read, or what books do we read?
Oh yeah, I want to know the answer to that.
So I've got actually a video coming out. So you guys are going to get the first view, or I'll give you a few of the books on there, but I actually have the video. It's going to be 10 uncommon books I think every successful man should read. That's coming out this Tuesday. But I'm not going to give you my top. I'll give you the ones that didn't make, they're still awesome, but they didn't make the top 10 list. So first off, I've got, let me see, 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel.
Oh yeah, that's a good book. I read that.
Yeah, and it's just great one. I got The Business of Expertise by David C. Baker.
Okay.
I've got Jordan B. Peterson's The 12 Rules for Life. He became really big recently.
Yeah.
Just got and I had to grab his book.
That one right now. Yeah.
Freaking phenomenal. And I highly recommend Audible. I mean, I've been using that thing for 10 years. Now I'm finally getting paid by those guys to talk about them. But I've been using, when I went to business school, I first downloaded and started using Audible because I needed to get caught up. I didn't have time to be reading everywhere. And it just allowed me to fill dead time and read up on all these business books because I didn't know jack about business heading off to this business school. The Blue Ocean Shift, which is based off the first book was called Blue Ocean Strategy, but the new one is called Blue Ocean Shift, and I think it's a great book. Have you ever heard of Blue Ocean Strategy or Blue Ocean Shift?
Yeah, I've got both those on my list. I have not read those ones yet, but I also do Audible. Like I just listen when I'm running 3x speed. Audible, I get through so many.
I don't get
books.
through, man. 3x speed, man. I'm 1.75 is the most I can do there.
It depends on the author too, on the narrator.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So if it's just like a northeastern broadcaster accent, like no accent, 3x is easy. And if the content is non-historical, that's fine. Like I've been working my way up. But if it's like a Australian accent or an English accent, or it's like historical type of stuff, sometimes I listen to like historical books, then I got to slow it down. So I just kind of see if I can do the 3x, I do it. If not, then, and it also helps too, because I'm running. So it's easier for me to like focus. Like if I were doing something else or even driving, I think it'd be harder, but so.
Hey, I see a friend out there. We've got Manny over at 2000 Books. He's out there. Did we meet all together at the conference in San Diego? Because I ended up talking and hanging out a lot with Manny.
Yeah, Manny was there too. Yep. Yeah, we actually went over there together. So, and in fact, he was the one who invited me over because he knew Andrew, and he.
I think Andrew should blame it on Manny that party ended up. He said it was only be like 20 people, or when Manny told me, "Oh, it's going to be like 8 to 10 of us," and I'm like, then it grew to like to 15. And when I walked in there were 70 people in there. I think Manny is the one and Andrew thrown out of that place.
Yeah, I think so. I've been thrown out of places with Manny before, so.
Manny is that kind of guy.
Yeah. He looks inconspicuous, but
he does. He comes off as very like, oh, just a very quiet Indian guy, but then you're like, no, this guy, like he's working the scenes. He knows what's going on. So
here, let me ask you this question: what is the number one book, like overall, not just business, but that you would recommend, like perhaps your favorite book? I know this might change from like time to time, but if you had one that's coming to mind right now.
So for me, Essentialism has been key by Greg McNown, and I listen to that once a month for the last year. To me, it's like a shower. It's like you need to go through and declutter your life and cut off the non-essential. And it's not something you do once. It's something, and you need to be reminded of what's important. This isn't something that you can, that's where college is so screwed up. You spend this one point in your life, like sucking in all this information and not really doing too much. And then you're supposed to like remember, it's like people would be better, I think, if we got rid of college and we just had like where once, maybe once a quarter, you would actually go away for a week and you would think about where you're going, what you want to accomplish, who you want to be and who you are right now, and what actions you can take to actually make change and live the life you want to live. But instead, we go off and we spend, go into huge student loan debt and take all these classes that most of them don't even help out, or we forget, or we show up halfway hungover to. And, it's kind of a screwed up system if you think about it.
Oh yeah, I always think of it as like Batman with with the bat belt, right, with all the little gadgets on there, and that's what I think of like college and like what traditional, like what we do today is like we try to like get all this stuff that we might use in some kind of really obscure situation, instead of like you said, like if we just took the time and focus on, well, what am I actually trying to accomplish, and then let me learn what I need to learn, or what am I trying to become, let me focus on that. So much more effective. And I think most entrepreneurs like have to figure that out, right? It's like you can't just like gather a bunch of knowledge and think that's going to help you. It's like, well, you need the focus knowledge, but you need to know what you're trying to do first.
Yeah, I see Dantana writing in there, 60K in debt does not land me. The only thing that college guarantees you is, especially in the United States, that you'll come out with student loan debt. That's the only guarantee. Right. Oh, and student loan debt doesn't matter if you go through bankruptcy. You cannot get rid of that. The only
Right.
thing that can get rid of student loan debt is death. And even then, they try to get your mom and other people. I know this because that's what happened to my sister when she died. They're calling my mom, trying to get her to pay my sister's college loans off. Screw them.
Yeah.
And I have to admit that like this is probably going to be another website and blog I'm going to launch because I got 4 young kids, and it is fear that they basically they screw us with, and they say that because if you don't get that college degree, you're going to fail in life. Statistics show that you're going to earn this much money. You're not a statistic. You are an individual who can go out there and do be. And it's not going to be the anomaly. It's just the way that the system is set up right now. And there's not evil people in colleges. Well, there are some, but there are a vast majority are good people. I know tons of people that are recruiters for college that work in the financial aid office. These are good people. But, as a system as a whole, it is not there to, if you look at, the end product, and most college people, I find professors, they just want to help you think better. They really, truly want to help you. But most students going in have this assumption that this 4-year degree is going to guarantee me a job. And that's where the breakdown happens is you got to really understand, what can you afford? If you've got $200,000 sitting around and you're willing to just, you think college is really going to get you there, or you want to be a doctor, or you want to be a lawyer. I get that path. That makes sense. Sure. But for someone trying to figure out life to go into I would say join the military. In the United States, there's a lot of advantages, or go find a job that's going to inspire you. Go pick up a trade. Go to a trade school. It's going to cost you a lot less. And those guys are making 70 to 80,000, and there aren't enough of them. That's starting. I know plumbers. I know people that are making 200,000 a year. 10 years after they started this.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if you're familiar with. Do you know MJ DeMarco, like Millionaire Fastlane?
I don't know him. I've read his books and I like his stuff.
Yeah, it's I was going to say, if you haven't read his books, like you would definitely enjoy it. But I've had him on here too, and it's just like it's such. I give that book out so much, the Millionaire Fastlane, and he's got another book, Unscripted, because it's exactly what you're saying. It's like you don't have to follow this stupid path that so many people go down of going to school, going into debt. And I wish I would have known that early on. That's what, like the young people today, and there's so much opportunity, right? It's like you can create a YouTube channel. Like there's so much opportunity for creating an online business and all this stuff that you don't have to have a college degree. So it's scare tactics. I totally agree with you.
So we got a lot of questions coming in. So someone's saying, isn't the military dangerous? Well, so is walking through the streets of Chicago. But people do it every day. True. And I would say that no, more people die in peacetime in the military because you just got, I would look at the stats on that, and I felt overall in general, like it was an amazing opportunity. But I'm not going to say the military is not for, I don't want everyone to join the military. I mean, it's only for that 1 or 2%. It's just my experience. There's so many things, from the Peace Corps to actually going out and doing a service work to, I really just want people to do something that truly adds value, that isn't a drag on society early on, and pursue those dreams, go after that. But don't early. Now there's a lot of college students out there. We're getting questions about, people going in talking about, they're 70,000 in debt. Most of it wasn't. I could have learned the stuff on my own. We got Paulo talking about it's a corrupt capitalist system that, though debt is trying to make young people less educated. I would say every system is corrupt. Doesn't matter if we're socialist, dictatorship, and just because, capitalist is just one system, I wouldn't blame it on the system, because when you blame it on something else, you give up the ability to change. I mean, and that's, I don't want to be powerless. If you're okay with being powerless, with not having the ability to change, I still think that, the US is not a perfect society, but it's a pretty darn good society. People die trying to get into this country, and people try dying to get into Europe. There's great systems over there. I love what they're, it's like, but really it comes down to what can you control and what change can you make? There are successful people in China. There are successful people in Somalia. It doesn't matter where you're at. It's like, what can you do with the situation you have? And for those that, Somalia, that was an extreme example. It's a tough country to be in. But, I think most people on here, even if I saw people that are over in Iran, it's a little bit tougher in Iran. I'm very fortunate where I'm at, but I think that you can find success most of us listening here or watching this, I think you can find a way to make it happen.
Actually, I've got a guy that I had talked about on this channel. I've emailed him back and forth from Iran, a blind programmer. Imagine that, a blind programmer from Iran. So he's blind, he's a programmer. He actually became very successful, really successful, like by anyone's standards. And look at what his starting hand was. I mean, so yeah, I totally agree with you. I always think of it as like it's like the board game. Like you've got the rules. A lot of people want to object. They want to say, oh, the rules aren't fair. I don't like the rules of this game. But that doesn't help you. Like you can play by the rules. You might not like the game, but if you play by the rules, if you figure out the game and how to win, then you're going to be successful. Otherwise, you just sit on the sidelines and complain.
Yeah. Yeah. And once you actually get really good with it, you realize that there's other people playing games around you, and you can find the rules that you like. You realize that you could start your own game and you set the rules yourself. But exactly. You can't. First, you got to start playing the game. You got to get into it. You got to fail. You're going to hit a lot of problems. Now, Jonas is actually silver lining. Somalia has no taxes. Actually, that I know of. You do have the the gang taxes and the pirate taxes, but you're right. Anywhere they're not taxes over there. Now, I think Manny was asking about what's your one best tip for accelerating the growth of your YouTube channel. I'm big about collaborations and actually finding ways to work with others in the same way that we're collaborating here. And I think I probably brought some people to your channel, and you're going to bring people to my channel. But I do find that really being a go-giver and finding a way to work with others is, so I go to live events. The event I'm going to in Palm Springs is called ClamorCon, and it's large YouTubers getting together and getting to know each other and really just building relationships and friendships that we can then leverage into growing our channels.
That's awesome. Yeah. I owe you a video. I'm working on it, but
at some point, I put it. Oh, and Ferris, of course, I love Aaron Marino. I could probably, he sends me nude pictures of his cats all the time.
He was an awesome guy. I had him on the channel as well, and I was just like, I was surprised how down to earth he was too. So
yeah, he's an awesome guy. We've got two businesses together. We talk every day. And that's when you develop real friendships, it's amazing what you can accomplish. And then you realize that everyone's human. Everyone sits on the toilet once a day. It's like, and if they're not, they're, telling you go to see a doctor because you need to be healthy there. But, we all, and that's always put a beautiful woman kind of in her place. Like if you have trouble approaching like someone that you think is better than you, someone that you put on a pedestal, realize, hey, we all sit on the same pedestal every day. We are all human. We all deal with sickness. We all will deal with death. We all will deal with just things that happen in life. And when you realize that, it's like, not only do it help you overcome that anxiety of approaching somebody, but it also helps you deal with when you get in that position to realize, I need to be humble because my time is limited, and this person is going to, who knows, this could be an amazing person, and I want to be part of their journey. I want in 20 years for them to say, that person made time for me. That was life-changing.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, I want to be respectful of your time here. So we're coming up on an hour, but I would definitely have to do this again sometime. This is great. You have such a positive attitude and just like such a just a welcoming personality. I think it's just it's a ray of sunshine. I think for a lot of the internet, like you said. I think that positivity is something that I really appreciate, because there's so much negativity out there. So, but definitely everyone that's watching, make sure you go over, like I said, Real Men, Real Style. Go subscribe to Antonio's YouTube channel. You'll love the content there. I watch every single video when it comes out. I'm always excited to see new videos. Anything else that you want to
no, I'm sorry that we gotta say goodbye to these guys here in the chat. We're seeing some great Mariano. These guys are asking some awesome questions and tips on discipline. What's the best business conference that you recommend to attend course, my Menfluential conference. But social media marketing world was great. We hung out there, right, John? And there,
it's up to you, man. If I just want to be respectful of your time. But if you want to stay around and answer some more questions,
we need to get what we need to do is we need to hear, are there people out there that still want us to stick around? Like, we need to get these guys engaged. So get in there, say stick around. We need to see at least, I'd say 25 people say stick around. Can we get it?
Okay,
let's just see. So right now we're at 0. As Escobar style, is it going to let me down? So I'm saying yes.
Yes.
I'll deal with a yes. Okay,
yeah.
Just write a yes or a Y. Sure. Okay, we get a few. Okay, I see 6. Guys, come on, we need more than that. Danatana, you gonna help me out here? Omega 67. Alex, let me see.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
He's triple.
Oh yeah, we're getting some stick around, my boy. All right, thanks, homeless hobo. Appreciate that. Always these names crack me up. Does anyone have like a what else? Who else is out there? Come on. I'm going to go look for some people that aren't saying anything. Christian, where are you at? Let me see. Corey, what are you doing? Locke, let me see. Yeah. You're still around. Sylvester, Akash, 0. What are you guys? Oleg, you still out there? Bruff. Yeah, let's see if we can get a few more. Okay, so we'll stick around for a few more minutes. Let's answer some of these questions. Let's give these people some value. So about joining the military from outside the U.S., I don't know jack about that. Sorry, man. As Escobar, Carlos, good to see you, man. And Carlos comes out to my events in New York. He came out to my Menfluential events. But where can you find a group of us smaller YouTubers for collaborations? Man, Carlos, I would just start your own deal. I mean, just start engaging with people. Start a Facebook group. I know Jeff Rose did this in the finance industry. And I've watched Jeff shoot from, just in the last 6 months, shoot from, 40,000 subscribers to now over 110,000 subscribers.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And he's had 2 videos go viral, well over 1 million views. And this is Jeff just reaching out to me saying, hey, Antonio, I want to add you to this group. We're mostly, he kept it specific to finance vloggers. And so that helped out a lot is people want to join these ultra specific groups. So, for New York YouTubers, awesome. It's like, keep it local so that you guys can actually then physically get together very easily. That would be my tips on that. Any tips for discipline? Christian's asking, so set up systems that make it hard. Like the reason I'm on here on YouTube is because John set up, we had an appointment. I'm big about setting up appointments with other people to hold you accountable. So with Manny's on here, it's like somebody's asking, how can I make $6,000 quick? Well, I don't know how to make $6,000 quick, but I know Manny just made $1,000 off me quick because I needed a new accountability coach. And Manny's like, hey, I'll jump on a call with you once a week and let you tell me what you need to do. And I'll just sit back and count your money. I'm like, okay, Manny worked out. Here's the deal. Manny talked to me in person. I liked Manny. Manny has and he's read 2,000 plus books. So I'm like, well, shit. My problem with books is that I read them and I don't take action. So Manny, can you actually help me? I'm gonna tell you what books I'm gonna read and help me just be held accountable to doing what I say I need to do. He's like, sure, I'll take your money. Boom, it works. It's pretty easy. Which Manny, I just paid your invoice, but so that money just flew in.
People don't realize the value that they have, right? That's
and
so many ways.
But talk to people, find out what their problems are, then figure out, can you solve their problem, and then take their money. I mean, it's really that easy.
There you go. Let's see.
How do I deal with competition? I keep my enemies. What is it? You keep your friends close, your enemies closer. So that's why I keep Aaron Marino so close. It's like
it's like cooperation, right? In our space, it's like unless you're Apple or like a big company where you have like a 50% market share, like none of us like in any space, on YouTube have anywhere close to like big, huge market shares. So it's all cooperation, right?
It's like grow the party. It's like 2 dudes walking into a party and there's all these beautiful women and they're like, I'm going to fight you because I want them all to myself. It's like, what are you talking about, man? There's like 50 women here.
Right.
I get it. Maybe you are really, the epic here, but I think there's plenty for all. And then there's another guy that shows up. Okay. Like, it's still like why fight? Actually, but then you realize the thing is here is that there's two doors on the side of this room, and it's like, guys, how about you go see what's going on in the other two rooms? And you realize there's two other huge parties with all women, and it's like, well, you wouldn't have found those other two parties if you didn't have two other guys that could go check those doors, and you guys are working as a team, and you realize, man. And that's what I love about blue ocean strategy is it's like, instead of like fighting with the other sharks in this red bloody ocean, like realize that there's all these blue oceans around you. And like, why, like, let's get out there and like, just go fishing where there's tons of fish.
Yeah. I love that. That's a good analogy.
What, the hotel room with like 50 women in it?
Yeah, it's a motivating one, right? It's like you got to have motivation as well as make practical sense. So, and
Jonas is asking, do we drive electric cars? I drive a 20-year-old pickup truck that I've owned since I graduated college.
See, you've got me beat because I drive a 15-year-old car,
which is better, is greener than an electric car. Because actually, I have not put any new vehicles on the road for 20 years.
Yeah.
Yo, John, what do you think about print-on-demand services like Amazon Merch? What do you think, John?
You know, I'm not. I do. Are you selling merch like T-shirts and whatnot? I'm using an actual printer like that. Actually, someone from my audience that contacted me, and I'm like, oh, you're supporting me, I'll support you, and that's what I'm utilizing and just selling directly. But I don't know. Like I have got an Amazon Merch account. I haven't tried it out yet, but maybe it makes sense to distribute there as well. What about you?
I'm not an expert there. I would say that there's, find a great coach. I would talk with someone that knows something about that, but I wouldn't be able to give much guidance there. But I can tell people I drive a Chevy because someone's asking Chevy or Ford. There we go. But let me see. Somebody's got another good question for you there, John. Zefrander, he's asking, do you recommend me learning programming if I'm only 18 years old and I expect to stop programming in 10 years?
Well, yeah, I would definitely say so, because, here's the thing I would say about this actually is that skill set of learning the program, of thinking in that manner, is going to help you in all aspects of your life, because programming is essentially taking complex problems, breaking them down into smaller problems, breaking them down further until you get to the step. Because in order to write a line of code, you have to write a step. And if you can take that skill set and you can apply that as an entrepreneur, you're going to be successful there. Because entrepreneurship, right, building a business, it's all big problems. And it seems so big. It's like, how am I going to make $6,000? Someone asked that. Well, you break that down and you say, well, how can I make $600 a month, right? And how can I make $1, right? And it's like, and when you put that all together in aggregate, that's when you start making $6,000 a month, if that's what your goal is.
And Jonas is saying that he started learning at 19. He's 23, and the journey's been amazing. Now we are getting a question about finding your niche or your niche, depending on how do you guys pronounce that? Niche. I say niche. What do you say?
I like niche. I said,
yeah.
I like
okay. Our friendship now has just parted ways. But for me, it's about not focusing on it's not about finding your niche. It's about figuring out what problems can you solve. If you want, we're talking business here. There's tons. Find out who has problems that are bleeding neck problems, and they have money to spend to solve this problem. And boom, you got a business.
Yeah, I like for my approach. I tend to think of in terms of what is, the example I always use is if your garbage disposal is broken, who are you going to call? Are you going to call ABC Plumbing, or are you going to call Mr. Garbage Disposal Fix-It Man? So the more specific that you can be of a specific problem, even though you're a generalized plumber, you could solve any, having something that you're ultra focused on is going to get you noticeable.
And knowing that your customer actually wants fast service on Thanksgiving, because we had our plumbing get, and this was Thanksgiving. I had family coming over, and guess what? I don't care that you charge triple on Thanksgiving, but I do care that you can solve my problem so that, the crap isn't shooting out of my toilets when my mother-in-law is visiting. It's just, Like that's important to me. And I don't care what your price is. Solve my problem and be really clear with people that you do that. And boom, it's easy. And it's beautiful. It's people are happy to pay well, not everyone's happy, but they will pay it. And they realize because, hey, it's Thanksgiving and yeah, I'm cleaning out the crap out of your toilets there. So you got questions for you, man. People are asking to John, how do you push yourself when learning a new skill? I tend to get stuck on something at the beginning and either quit or stall out.
Well, I'll let you answer that one first, and then I'll.
Hey, they're asking you, man.
Oh, all right. But you got to answer that too, because I'm curious about your answer to it. So, for me, for pushing myself is a couple of things. One, I create a system and rules, right? So right now, actually, I am on a 3-day fast. I haven't eaten since Monday. Okay, it's Thursday now, and I'm going to do some kickboxing tonight. I will break the fast tomorrow. But the reason why I'm able to do it is because I have a rule. Like, there's not a question. I eliminate judgment calls. So if I want to do something, if I want to learn something, if I want to have discipline, if I'm going to run a marathon, when I ran my marathon, it was all about rules. Like, and it's life or death for me. I don't break those rules. And so that's the thing, is like setting up a system that's going to guarantee success so you don't make judgment calls, because I suck at judgment calls. If I have to decide if I'm going to eat the salad or the donut, it's a donut every time. But if I don't have to decide anything because it's already decided ahead of time, I can stick to that, right? I can stick to rules. It's the same rate, like, and anyone can do it, because I'll tell you why. If you're driving in the car, okay, when you see the stop light, right, you don't think, I wonder if I should stop, right? It's a rule. You are accustomed to following that rule. You don't even question it, so you stop the car, right? So you just create that same thing in your life. You create stoplights, and then you're going to be able to follow. You don't need willpower, right? It takes a lot less willpower and a lot less discipline if you create rules.
I like that. That was good. I don't know what more I can add.
Okay. Let's see. I think someone had a question for both of us here. That was like, to John and then Antonio. Oh, that was the one. The learning. The learning new skill.
And what do you think about buying app websites, YouTube channels to generate money? I've never bought an app or a website. I've been thinking about that. I think many people undervalue their app or their website or their YouTube channel. So it would make sense. I've noticed a lot of creators actually put, whenever they go to Patreon, they're willing to create a video, for actually not that much money. They'll create a video, promoting whatever you want. I'm like, man, like, I've actually worked and I've supported creators that I paid a minimum amount for, and they're promoting my channel, or I could do something like that. I never told them they had to, but I did give myself that option.
I've been interested lately in doing that, trying to maybe buy like a smaller website or YouTube channel or something like that, and then take the internet marketing skills that we've acquired from running our businesses that they maybe don't know, and build a product or build something and build a sales funnel and actually maybe double or triple the revenue from it. I think that'd just be kind of fun to do, right?
Yeah. Let's see, what else do we got out there? Going through. Does fasting affect your energy? And I'm interested in this, and your libido and your testosterone, John.
So I would say no. Okay. I think at first, if you were to do this, like if you've never fasted before, right? My normal protocol is to eat 1 meal a day. So I fast until like 5 every day, and now I'm doing more extended fasts. And so what I would say is it's psychological, right? So Manny can attest, because he went to the gym with me yesterday. I lifted, I set some PRs on some of my lifts. I lifted heavy weight for 2.5 hours. I did kickboxing on Tuesday and ran 5 miles. I ran 5 miles this morning. I'm gonna do a kickboxing class this evening, and I'll lift weights tomorrow, and that'll be all on no food. And I know I can do it. Like if I went and I said, oh, I should be tired right now because I haven't eaten, then I'll be tired, right? But if I'm like, okay, this shouldn't affect me, and I'm just going for it. I mean, you've got fat to burn, right? You have fuel, or your body will create fuel. Then it doesn't. Now, and I will say in the long term, like being at low body fat percentage, right? Being in a calorie deficit over the long term does hurt your libido and testosterone, and does hurt your overall motivation. But that's like your body's natural defense mechanism. It doesn't want you to die. So when I get down to like 8% body fat, that's when it really is it really starts to hit me. But in general, fasting doesn't.
Man, that's quite a few days to go without eating. Whatever works for you. Why did you decide to do that versus like there's all these other options out there?
For me, like I used to do the whole bodybuilding diet of like the 6 to 7 meals a day, and that worked okay. But what would happen is when I'd like try to cut down, I would lose a lot of muscle, right? And it was also just like my life was cook and eat, right? That's what was my whole life, was cook and eat and lift, right? And and I started experimenting with some intermittent fasting. And I realized that it wasn't really hurting my results. And then I finally got to this point where I was like, where I just decided to try doing like 1 meal a day. In fact, I was going on a vacation in Hawaii, and I was like, I don't want to get fat over this vacation. So, so my plan was, okay, instead of doing like the intermittent fasting till 2 p.m., if I just eat 1 meal a day, then I can go out and eat at the luau and eat at the restaurants and enjoy the vacation. And I'm just making a small sacrifice. And when I came back from that trip, I was actually super lean, and I had actually gained a couple pounds of muscle. And I was like, wow, there's something here. So I started doing that lifestyle. And what I found was, again, with the rules thing, it's so much easier. Like I don't have to make judgment calls. I just know that at 5 o'clock, I'm going to eat, or, whenever, like 5 or 6 o'clock. And also I could eat better foods instead of eating like chicken and broccoli all the time. It's like, oh, if I want to get a burrito, it doesn't matter because, I'm going to burn 3,000 calories. And if I eat a 2,000, 2,500 calorie meal, right, at one sitting. So for me, it's just easier. It seems like counterintuitive, like it'd be harder. But for me, it's a much easier, less restrictive lifestyle, kind of the irony, I guess, in that. But
so we've got quite a few comments in there. This is interesting. But what I love is with your story is you actually measure and you test and you found what worked for you.
Right. Yeah.
What
cool. About you? Have you tried any fasting?
No, I mean, for me, fasting, I was raised Catholic. So it was just that was where, they would have like fasting with like, it just brings back like religion, like, no thing. Like, it's like but so for health stuff, I never got into it. And it just comes down to, I eat what my wife cooks. She simply, she cooks all our food from scratch. We eat, I think we eat relatively well. It's not to the point though, that I am watching I'm not counting calories. I'm not going into ultra lean. I think it would be great to be able to have a 6-pack, but at this point, it's not high on my priority list when it comes to sacrifice and what I'm willing to do there. I do want to be in great shape. I want to master my own body weight and be able to, that's just something I take with me. I like to be relatively, in a good position. But yeah, when it comes to going from that, getting down to the percentages you're talking about, I'm not ready for that sacrifice yet.
Yeah, it's definitely a sacrifice. It's definitely not for forever. Like you gotta have a good reason for doing it, I think, because it's definitely a lot. It's better to just, I think for most people, just to maintain a healthy like weight and just like, not get fat. So
now we're getting questions. Tyler's asking, you had a decent career at 25. Would you consider going into the United States Marine Corps? To me, things like that, again, are a test. And the cool part about having done something like that early is that I don't have to ask, like, did I ever push myself? So I've got tons of guys here. They're part of this like Spartan racing, and they're like, they're at the gym, like doing this stuff, and they're getting all pumped up about, being away from their families and going off to do this, like these crazy extreme challenges. And I have no like need to do that. Like, that's cool, but I've already proven myself. I know where I'm capable at in that part. Like, I do want to stay in shape, but I just found for me, it was a great test and it was a great challenge. And I was happy then to move on from it. John, what's been a great big challenge in your life? Something that like really like pushed you?
I think I'd have to say, one of the ones that sticks out recently was last year I ran my first full marathon. I did like I ran a lot of halves last year as well, but the full, that was a challenge. That was really like, and I remember when I first started running, when I was running like 3 miles, like, 3 times a week, I was like, how could anyone possibly run 26.2 miles, run for 4.5 hours or whatever? And it just seemed like such an impossible thing to me. But, it's if you train right, if you plan it out, if you have the plan, like, it's possible. And so that was one of those ones where, and I probably won't do that again. Like, I'll probably run some more halves or whatnot. And I ran halves afterwards, but the full was that was definitely a challenge.
Yeah, especially I would think. I mean, you got a larger muscular body type, and that's not a. I mean, I'm a thinner guy, and I've always felt that I gravitated towards distance running. Uh, Now we've got some trolls out there.
Yeah.
We got this having a woman cook all the meals, typical male privilege. Although he did call us white male privilege, I'm friggin' Mexican. It's like, how come you can't acknowledge my brownness? What is going on? I am disappointed. It's like, and what's really upsets me, in fact, offends me, is that people think I'm Italian. Now, business wise, I never worry about it, but my wife is always like, she's Ukrainian, and she's like, well, why isn't there a section here for Ukrainian on the writing?
Exactly. Yeah. It's just because someone came up with that. And
so I would love for Kareem to really give me something good. Come on, Kareem.
Kareem is the resident troll on every live stream.
Kareem, we need more. Come on, really. Let's insult something like, I don't know. Watch this privilege. Water.
Hey, DAP University. What's up, Gregory?
Yeah, there we go. All right. Viva la Mexico. Right. That's right, Jonas.
That's funny.
Mesomorph.
I was wondering the same thing too, right? It's like, I mean, I'm pretty dark. Like I'm Italian and Turkish. So, but people always, again, with the white male privilege, I don't know. Like I would, if I saw myself on the street, I wouldn't say that guy looks like a white male, but I don't know. So.
It's funny. I was reading a Spider-Man comic the other day, and it's one of the part of the Spider universe is multiverse, is that these like vampire-like creatures are going through killing all the Spider men throughout all the different multi-universes. And but there's one part where they actually kill Spider Kitten or Spider Cat, which I didn't even know. But I'm like thinking, probably there are many people that would be more offended that they killed the Spider Cat than they kill all these Spider humans. It really depends on me, because you think about it, everyone here has human privilege.
Right.
It's like, I don't mean to like make anything small. I get it. And there are all types of issues, but I think it's interesting when you travel the world and you realize that there is no perfect culture. Yeah. And some of the most stark racism I've ever seen was like in Thailand. And I mean, it's just right up there. Like, here's this product. We sell it right outside the drugstore to whiten your skin, because all dark colored ties, they get the worst jobs. The women, like, it's almost all the prostitutes are dark. All of them are dark colored ties. It's like all the menial jobs are being done by the dark, and they're almost more the ethnic ties. They are, it's the higher level, the Chinese descendant ties, which are the separation. In Ukraine, it's like, they're straight up a very homogeneous population, but they are, the word for, ask any Ukrainian what the word for a black person is, and you'll be like, whoa, don't ever say that in the United States, because you'll get killed. It's like, it's everywhere. It's human. We're all tattooed by our tribe, and we all make these judgments. The Turks, do they love the Bulgarians? It's like they want. It's like, I was in Bulgaria in Pleven, and man, that museum, like, celebrating the victory over those Turks. I was like, oh my God, like, these people are like, they're like, and yeah.
I had this girlfriend from our Armenian girlfriend, and she didn't even know I was Turkish. And when she found out, we were dating for like 6 weeks or so, and she was like, she's like, my family won't accept you. Like, she basically just like freaked out. I was like, and that was it. And it's like, it's funny that there's people like, I don't know, but whatever happens, like, you're gonna have. I mean, yes, some people will be disadvantaged, but like, again, it's like what you said before. It's like, well, you got what you got, right? So maybe the game isn't fair. Maybe, you can complain about it, and you can whine, and you can say how unfair it is, or you can take responsibility and you can say, well, you know what? Some people are not going to like me. They're going to discriminate against me, but I'm going to do the best that I can, right? And I'm not going to let that. I'm not going to let them, bother me. I'm going to do the best that I can with what I have, and that's all you can do. Otherwise, you can just whine. So.
Yeah, we're all living, man, woman, purple, green, we're all going through this life, Yeah. Well, cool, man. On big topics like that, I guess we can wrap this up. We're a few minutes beyond, but thanks everyone for sticking around.
Yeah, this has been fun. We'll definitely have to do this again sometime. But and everyone go over, check out, like I said, Real Men, Real Style. Go subscribe. Show the love. Antonio. He was very generous to spend his time here and to answer all your questions. So, all right, buddy. Well, I'm gonna go get a haircut now.
Yeah. So that's another video we're working on, is how to recover from a bad haircut. I got a bad haircut a couple weeks ago, and I was just like, yeah. But yeah, man. Do you know how to talk to your barber?
Give me some tips real quick.
There's this channel. You should go check it out. It's called Real Men Real Style. He's got a whole video on it.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, I think in the video he talked about like having a picture of your best haircut, and also letting the barber know when was the last time you did get a haircut, but showing him that picture and knowing a few key words like how to taper the back, maybe knowing some of the numbers, and you try to go back to the same barber that you've worked with and that's given you a haircut good in the past.
Oh, good. I'm doing it right now.
I check out that channel. It's freaking amazing. Like,
I got a Dropbox folder called haircuts, and it's got and I've actually captured from my YouTube. That's one good thing about doing YouTube every day, is like I know exactly what my style and my hair looked like for the last like 8 years, so I can just like go back and say, oh, this is where it was good. So
yeah. All right, man. Take care.
Take care, man.
Talk to you later.